When did you realize your parents were bad at parenting? When I was 8, my dad made me sit in the car during his meetings and told me it was normal for kids to wait like this. Sometimes for 20 minutes, sometimes for 2 hours. He'd hand me his old phone with no service, just games to keep me busy and say, "Don't move until I come back." This happened almost every weekend. Dad would drive us to these apartment buildings, park in the back where it was quieter and tell me to stay put. "It's just grown-up stuff," he'd say, ruffling my hair. "Important business meetings that help pay for your toys." And I believed him because why wouldn't I? He'd always bring me a candy bar or soda afterward like it was some kind of reward. Sometimes he'd let me pick out a small toy at the store on the way home. I thought it was just our special routine. I never questioned it until one Saturday when we were parked outside a building I didn't recognize. Dad left like usual, but this time a police car pulled up beside us. The officer noticed me sitting alone and tapped on my window. I rolled it down just a little like Dad taught me. "Hey buddy, you okay in there?" he asked, looking around. "Where's your parent?" I pointed at the building. "My dad's in a meeting, he'll be back soon." The officer frowned. "How long have you been waiting?" I checked the car clock. "Only an hour this time, sometimes it's longer." His face changed then. He didn't look angry, just sad. He asked for my dad's name and made a call on his radio. 10 minutes later, Dad came rushing out of the building looking nervous, not like himself at all. They talked quietly away from the car. Dad kept pointing at me and shaking his head. The officer wrote something down and handed Dad a piece of paper. When Dad got back in the car, he didn't bring a candy bar. He just drove home in silence, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. That night, I heard Dad and Mom fighting downstairs. Mom's voice got louder until she was practically screaming, "You left him in the car while you were buying drugs? What kind of father does that?" The word drugs felt cold in my stomach. I knew what drugs were from school assemblies. They weren't business meetings. There was no important work happening, just my dad disappearing into strangers' apartments while I sat alone in a car. The next morning, Mom had red eyes at breakfast. Dad wasn't home. She told me Dad would be staying with Uncle Jim for a while and I wouldn't be going on errands with him anymore. A lady from Child Services came to our house later that week. She spoke to me alone and asked lots of questions about the car, the waiting, and if I ever felt scared. I told her I wasn't scared because Dad said it was normal. She wrote something down and looked at me with that same sad face the officer had. For Christmas that year, I got a bike I'd been wanting for months. The card said it was from Dad, but Mom's handwriting was on the tag. Dad wasn't there to see me write it. It took years before I understood what happened. Dad wasn't just bad at parenting. He was using me as cover while he bought drugs. The candy bars, the toys, the special time, all of it was just to keep me quiet and make me complicit in something dangerous. Mom divorced him that year. She got full custody and Dad's visits became supervised. He'd show up sometimes with gifts that felt like apologies, but he never mentioned the car waiting again. And I never asked, because I finally understood what those meetings really were.